This is Trucks and Tractor Power, featuring the all-stars of TNT's All-American Pulling Series. Welcome to Trucks and Tractor Power on the Nashville Network. Today we come to you from the banks of the Ohio River in Owensboro, Kentucky, for perhaps the most popular pulling class, four-wheel drive. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Lee alongside Army Armstrong. And Army, Owensboro is your hometown, but this does not look like the county fairgrounds.
No, this is the local GMC dealership, the Roberts Brothers GMCs. Know one thing for sure in motorsports, there's an old saying, if you win on Sunday, you're going to sell on Monday, and all the manufacturers are tickled to death to see the pulling sport come to town. The GMC people, they're going to be pulling for Jim Lyons. He builds his own engine, makes his own horsepower. He's a good bet. But also we've got another battle coming in. Lee Edwards brings his horsepower from Virginia and puts it in a Manassas, Virginia vehicle of Robert Golahan. Out of Texas, Jerry Janke sends horsepower up in the form of the Manuel Marino vehicle. All the big guns are going to be here, Gary.
So battles on two fronts, the nameplates and the engine manufacturers, coming up next in Owensboro. It is fair time in Western Kentucky, the Daviess County Lions Club Fairgrounds in Owensboro, Kentucky. We are set for perhaps the most popular class in all of pulling, the four-wheel drive pickup trucks with an excellent track condition. In fact, a brand new track here for this event. The sled weight about 40,000 pounds. And our first puller in competition, Tommy Holman, the Saturday Night Driller. He is driving a Dodge with a Janke-built engine that turns out about 1,200 horsepower on the dyno. Here is the 1989 points champion.
Well, now Holman's out of Ohio, but he relies on Texas to make the horsepower. You're going to hear some different names when we're talking about engine. You said Janke. That's Jerry Janke, the engine builder out of Texas. All the engine builders want to take a win at Owensboro because it's figured to be about the second largest pulling event in America. A win here means something. Holman works the left side. What's his distance, Gary?
Well, falls short of the 300 feet full pull at 279.60. An enthusiastic crowd of some 12,000 here at the Daviess County Lions Club Fairgrounds. Let's look again.
He rolled off the starting line. A lot of the other drivers are standing around the starting line area watching where they spot the sled. The sled is official. He must take the distance he gets. The 300-foot track, like we say, not the run that he was looking for. Other drivers will adjust after seeing that run, Gary Lee.
Well, now we're ready for some more competition, but before we have our next pull, let's go back down and check in with Tommy Holman.
What about the track itself tonight? You've had a chance to go out there on it. Is it a typical Owensboro track holding a lot of horsepower?
It come loose tonight on me about the 225 pretty bad, so there must be a soft spot out there about 225. It's invisible. You can't see it. Now, if somebody drives around it, they may be able to knock me out. But all in all, the truck did real good. The first, like I say, the 225 foot after that wasn't the best pull in the world.
Talk about Texas horsepower coming up next. The Yellow Rose of Texas, the 1990 GMC with Janke power. This is Manuel Marino. And Manuel was one of the drivers that we saw down at the start-finish line watching exactly what the other competitors were doing.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, he was standing right behind Holman when Holman left the starting line. Marino rolls out with the GMC. A little bit of a pop out on the right side of the engine, Gary. That could be costing him some horsepower. The chassis unloading on him. See the bounce? That is going to cost him some precious feet and inches in this sport. Not the run he was looking for either by any means, Gary.
Well, not the run, but so far that's the best at 282.84. So perhaps the engine problems cost him a full pull.
When the replay comes up, I want you to keep an eye on the right side of the engine. You should see a pop at about the 2 feet mark right there. That's what cost him. He made that run basically on 7 cylinders, Gary.
The Janke-built engine, about, again, 1,200 horsepower. He needed all of it and then maybe an extra 5 or 10 horsepower for the full pull. But so far, that is the distance to be, 282.84. We look in the cockpit with Jim Lyons in stitches. The GMC, the veteran from Louisville, Kentucky, about 113 miles away. As you mentioned earlier, Army, he builds his own power plants. Let's see how much power he can turn out.
And another thing about Jim Lyons, he abuses his own engines. He's working the left side of the track, a lot of bounce in the chassis, Gary.
Boy, to work inside the cockpit.
He is working, abusing that vehicle.
Very close to what we have just seen from Marino. 281.85, just shy of what Marino turned in. So Jim Lyons in stitches. The GMC will not be very pleased with his ride here in Owensboro, Kentucky this evening. He lives just down the road a piece, about 113 miles in Louisville. Also a local sponsor for this GMC pickup. built by Tim Engler, who perhaps is better known for building those modified tractors. 281.85. And there's a look inside the cab again as he pulls off the helmet. He'll step out and talk with Army Armstrong.
Jim, you played this game before in all kind of motorsports, but it's amazing how tough you guys are on equipment about the last 10 feet of this sport. This thing was on kill.
I know we have to be, though. You know, it's really getting where it's good. Everybody's got the best equipment in the world. We can let them bounce a little bit and get there, but it's costing us on our equipment. Everybody's braking sooner or later. I know this will break in the next 2 or 3 runs. It's going to count that bounce, but there's nothing you can do about it. You got to go with it.
Well, here's a killer scheme familiar to all of motorsports, the STP pulling team out of the state of Texas, Dwayne Bakey. It's a 1988 Chevy S10 with a janky-built engine, some 1,400 horsepower, and he is looking down at 282.8 feet, the distance he needs to best here this evening.
Well, Gary, Jim Lyons came off the left side of the track. The STP S10's going right down the middle. Some good ground speed. Oh, the weight box comes up and catches him real quick. They really get moving, don't they, Gary? But then when it tops on them, it really pulls them down quick.
Distance of just over 273. We take a look inside the cockpit. Now, Dwayne is positioned right in the middle of the cab. Look at the concentration and look at the angle of the steering wheel. Very unique as he works that wheel down the dirt. Also, Gary, you might notice the right hand is operating the throttle. He's not a foot-operated throttle in these trucks. So 273.18 for Dwayne Bakey.
Local boy coming out now. They call him the Dakota Kid. He's a second-generation driver out of Lewisport, Kentucky, Terry Turner. Now, he gets his horsepower from a local source, Gary.
One of the younger pullers on the circuit. Once again, he's using that Chevrolet engine power, about 650 horsepower. So by comparison to the Yankees, he's down on horsepower and needs to hook up every bit of it to make this pull.
Yeah, he locates his horsepower at Owensboro, Kentucky. The automotive machine and performance people, they can get up here and run with these guys, and that's exactly what this kid's trying to do. Only nets a 267 and change, though.
Well, as in all motorsports, it's a learning proposition. The more you learn, the more time in the cockpit, the better the puller, the better the race driver can be.
Time in the seats, the most important thing. As the replay come up on the screen, you could tell the bounce on the starting line. The kid is just not smooth yet. He's developing a little finesse, and believe it or not, finesse is a big part of any motorsport, as you well know.
Here's a good-looking puller right here. This is Howard Lewis's high roller. Once again, Chevrolet power, the 1988 champion. Let's see what he can do.
Now, his Chevrolet horsepower comes out of the Lee Edwards stable, a big engine builder over on the East Coast.
Good run so far.
Yeah. Horsepower sounds good, staying in a good RPM range.
Almost a full pull. He's close. 293.04, and that is the best so far this evening.
That gets the crowds pumped up. You know, the Chevrolet people, they've got something to cheer about now. They're sitting on top of this thing. It's something we want to bring out. If you look in the background on the replay, you'll notice another pulling track. The background track is the original track. This is a new tractor pulling on this year. These guys are all trying to figure out how to make the horsepower stick. The high roller, he's found a hot hand.
Howard Lewis at 293.04, and he finds himself on top in the high roller. The Yellow Rose of Texas is second, and Stitches third now. As we come back with more four-wheel drive pickup pulling action from Owensboro, Kentucky.